Actually, I'm going to turn it over to Greg Rowland and Joe Estrada. Mr. Rowland spearheaded the work with our insurance company to be able to get the coverage for all of our employees, and Mr. Estrada is in charge of our network and computers. So at this time, I'm going to turn this item over to them.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent, members of the board. Again, as the President stated, there's about 11 general areas of concern put forth by the board, and those were generated by members of the public having some questions. So we're going to do our best to address each area of concern. And I'll give the presentation and open each area up to questions for the board. Is that satisfactory? The first question is, walk us through the timeline of the break-in and the notification process. The break-in was discovered early in the morning of December 1st. District staff was notified and immediately met with police. Staff then determined that the laptop may contain sensitive material. The fiscal department and technology information services staff worked over the weekend and around the clock to do a comprehensive forensic analysis of the backup files. The analysis is not only of the documents on the computer, but any backup for those documents. This is a common practice when doing auditing or reporting that you have to have the backup documentation. We did this determination, we did this analysis, and on December 4, staff discovered a large file containing approximately 15,900 files containing Social Security numbers, as well as some from Berkeley Unified School District employees. Simultaneously, we researched the breach notification laws in the state of California. We determined how much information was required in the breach notice, who must receive the notice, and how quickly they should receive the notice. Once we made that determination, staff started to draft the notification and try to determine the most expeditious and cost-efficient way to make this dissemination. Simultaneously, we confirmed that we had cyber liability coverage through our excess insurance carrier, CSAC. We worked with CSAC, the Beasley Syndicate of Lloyd's of London, and Coverage Council from Clyde & Co. in San Francisco to determine the scope of our protections. We found out that we had a $100,000 self-insured retention. We had access to credit monitoring, legal assistance, identity theft protection, and identity theft insurance of up to $10 million. We received our coverage letter on December 10th. Consequently, we began working with the recommended vendors, the vendors CSAC recommended, the Beasley Syndicate, Experian, and Immersion, as well as a nationally recognized law firm, Baker Hostetler. During the course of this process, we were trying to coordinate the notification. We made a few discoveries. The first discovery we made is that if we are going to inform our employees of the breach, we had to do it pursuant to the laws of each jurisdiction in which they resided. We determined we had retirees and former employees in 47 separate jurisdictions. We also determined that we could not only send out one dissemination, one letter. We determined that we had to find the employees where they were despite a change of address or change of circumstances or change of name. So that underscored the necessity to work with experts who could not only tailor the breach notification letter to 47 separate state statutes, but also had access to the National Change of Address database so we could do one dissemination and find all our employees where they were, regardless of their changed circumstances. The final step we had to do was to establish a call center so we could handle the enormity of calls we anticipated receiving. We worked with the call center, set up the time, set up the script, set up questions and answers for the call center employees, and again, worked with Immersion to establish that. We set up multiple levels of escalation so the level of complexity of the questions could all be addressed. We then finalized the notification letter, exchanged information concerning names and addresses and social security numbers, finalized all agreements, and mailed out over 17,000 letters by December 17th, 2012. During that time, we continued to meet with law enforcement and keep our board and union leadership informed. Simply put, members of the board, we had two professionals on staff, Deb Cooksey and Brian Richards, who'd gone through this process before. So we were immediately on it, and when we started working with the experts, they informed us that our response was very expeditious organization of our size and a mailing list size. So if there's any further questions about the timeline, I'd be willing to answer them now.
Thank you. Next one is.
The next one is, why did the district use an outside vendor to contact the affected people? As I said, the outside vendors helped us disseminate the letters, locate the affected individuals, and establish the call center. But the notification came from Mount Diablo Unified. Fortunately, we were insured for this problem. These vendors came highly recommended and were cost efficient. They had the capacity to do more with the situation than we did. For example, they had a system that could mail out 17,000 letters simultaneously. If we had to use district staff and the United States Mint to get this dissemination, would have been very, very expensive at that point, not to mention the staff time that would have been required. Also, again, with the necessity to find the individuals no matter where they were, we would have had to do multiple mailings. We would have done one mailing, we would have got all the envelopes back. We had to do another mailing and another mailing and another mailing, and we would have had to do multiple press notifications in order to meet the requirements of the breach notification laws. So, that being said, the use of outside vendors and the ability to access into our insurance was a plus. The other thing that needs to be kept in mind is that if we did not have access to these outside vendors, we could not provide our employees with the protections we did. The breach notification laws of the state of California don't require that we provide these protections. It simply provides that we require notice. It doesn't require that we provide credit monitoring, fraud protection, theft insurance, and the level of information that we did. So it was because of this this access, this use of outside vendors, that we were able to provide our employees with the protection we did. We had options about how much protection we could provide. We got the most expensive service because we know that a breach can be a traumatic experience, and we wanted to provide all our employees and all our retirees with the support they needed. So that's why we used outside vendors. Just to clarify a question that I anticipated but didn't address in these two questions. We have had some questions about why we didn't send out a letter earlier, simply notifying employees that there was a breach. We were told by all the experts, Beasley, Immersion, Experian, and Baker Hostetler, that in their experience, that sending out multiple letters with incomplete information did nothing more than create confusion. So we thought it was preferable to get the information right, to get all the information concerning who they contacted, what protections they had, and what occurred in one letter to try to eliminate the confusion. But the protections that we provided, make no mistake about it, the protections that we provided were retroactive to when the breach occurred on December 1st. So expediting the notification ever so slightly would have been, would not have provided any additional information at that time. Or any additional protection, I should say. The next question is, how many people have opted for the credit protection plan? As of January 10th, 2013, 1,743 people have enrolled. That's about 10% of the people who were notified. That's what we anticipated. That demonstrates that people have access to the credit protection, have access to the website, are able to avail themselves of the protection, and that is exactly what we anticipated the enrollment to be. So between 10% at the lowest and 20% at the highest.
Have those requests stopped?
No.
They're still coming in.
No, we've had about 500 in the last week.
So why do you think they're coming in now? Are they just deciding it would be an important service, or is the information still filtering out?
I believe the information is still filtering out. We've had a constant flow of requests. We've been monitoring the enrollment. It is at a relatively constant rate. We've had a number of escalation questions, and they were more often than not from people who did not receive a letter or were not either district employees or Berkeley employees, and they had questions about why they couldn't receive the letter.
And then how long will that protection be available? They can filter, those requests can continue to come in for an entire year, or?
That's correct.
Okay.
What we were informed by our vendor